Sustainability is an increasingly important factor as part of any partnership agreement nowadays. And luckily, that applies not only to the products imported into Europe, but also to the actual projects developed on the ground in countries like Papua New Guinea. And it is hard to think of something more sustainable on the long run than investing in education. We talked about this issue with Albert Schramm, the former Vice-Chancellor at the University of Technology in Leh.
Now here we come to the what's called House Europa. There is actually a sign there that says House Europa. You might want to see that. The university had lost its capacity to do research, and it was very backward with IT. So the intervention of the European Union was to give the university this big IT building. And then, there is no research without a master's program. So they donated a male and a female dormitory for the master's and PhD students, which we are still using. So it was a very important and structural intervention, which allowed us then, 10, 15 years later, to have the largest postgraduate program in the country.
If you look at development cooperation with the European Union with third countries all over the world, the common denominator of interventions is education, but I would call it human capital development. That's why the European Union also, in Papua New Guinea, which is not an exception, was active on education from the early days of development cooperation. Currently, we focus on vocational education and training in order to cover the needs of the large number of young population who are unskilled or semi-skilled and their search for employment.
You see, our biggest problem is the unemployment of our young people, skilling of young people. That's our biggest national crisis right now. This is one area that the European Union can really assist us in.
We have to create employment, and the only way you're going to do that is through education and giving skills to the people in Papua New Guinea to get that economic activity that will stop them from becoming involved with the less likely enterprises such as stealing and criminal activities. We don't need 10,000 lawyers in Papua New Guinea. What we need is 10,000 carpenters and engineers that can build roads and supervise roads, to develop infrastructure that will deliver health services and education facilities. And that's what Papua New Guinea is lacking.
Creating job opportunities is a real challenge in PNG. In fact, thousands of young Papua New Guineans enter the job market every year, and very few are actually able to find a place in the formal economy. I have discussed this issue with Michael Kingston, one of the most dynamic entrepreneurs from his company headquarters in Leh. Historically, Papua New Guinea is a country that has a huge problem when it comes to employment, but nobody really talks about it. Oh,
this is correct.
It's an argument that is not really tapped.
I 100% agree. I often say that I think unemployment is the single biggest problem that we have socially and economically in PNG. You would be hard-pressed to get a formal unemployment figure, but my personal estimates is that it would be north of 50%.
North of 50%?
Absolutely. If you walk around, and particularly if you look at the younger demographic, the number of young people who are looking for jobs and can't get a job is enormous. One of my favourite lines is, we don't have a crime problem in PNG, we have an unemployment problem. My general rule of thumb is, for every one person who's employed, their income is going towards supporting another 10 people. So if we've created an additional 10,000 jobs through the fishing industry, that's supporting approximately 100,000 people.
The relations between Papua New Guinea and Europe are important particularly because of the free trade agreement. And I think half the tuna that is consumed in Europe comes from Papua New Guinea. It's not as far away as many Europeans think.
Si può fare, si può fare, si può prendere o lasciare, si può fare, puoi correre e volare, puoi cantare, puoi gridare, puoi vendere e comprare, puoi rubare e regalare, puoi piangere e ballare, si può fare, puoi prendere o lasciare, puoi volere, puoi lottare, fermarti e rinunciare, si può fare, puoi prendere o lasciare, si può crescere e cambiare, continuare a navigare. Si può fare, si può prendere o lasciare, si può fare, partire e ritornare, puoi tradire e conquistare, puoi dire e poi negare, puoi giocare, lavorare, odiare e poi amare, si può fare, puoi prendere o lasciare, puoi volere, puoi lottare, fermarti e rinunciare, si può fare, puoi prendere o lasciare, si può crescere e cambiare, continuare a navigare.